Michael Burry, somebody that has become extremely famous in the world of investing from legendary big short position, but he's been very controversial since then. He made some big puts and bets to the downside on some of the top technology companies. Palantir, heavy bet on the downside to Palantir, and a heavy bet on the downside to NVIDIA came out last week. And then, both of their stocks had stumbled last week, not necessarily because of that, but, the market itself has stumbled. And then you had CEOs of Goldman Sachs and a few other companies saying that, we're going to have a fall in the market in the next 12 months or so. And then there's been constant talks of the AI bubble. So picked up today on news that the government shutdown is going to be over soon. But for people that's investing in Palantir and NVIDIA, is he on to something?
I love Michael Burry. I want to preface that. One of the greatest trades in American history, that what he did in calling that bubble, which he called that Moody's. But for all my traders and investors, the thing that I cannot stress as a stock club, you don't know what his parameters are for a winning trade. So he may have $1 billion in puts on Palantir and NVIDIA, and he may only want 12% gain, and you're deciding what to do over the next 5 years off of his filings. I will remain long on NVIDIA and Palantir, even though I don't like the company for what it does. The more I listen to Alex Karp, the more of an amazing CEO I think he is, and I wish he was at another one of my favorite companies. I won't say which, but I do like his chutzpah. I was the first one to say, hey, the crash and correction is going to come in 2027, but NVIDIA is not going to be one of the companies that crashes in 27. And Palantir, ironically enough, given who has influence in the White House, being Peter Thiel, his company is almost too big to fail as well. So when you're looking at someone else's portfolio, A, you need to know if they're holding for long-term or short-term. And B, if you don't know what their metric is for a winning trade, you can't base your long-term portfolio off of their move. He may need 20% to deliver alpha to his clients, which in the options trade is really easy to get. And he's been wrong. I mean, a couple of years ago, he said, sell everything. I was like, hold everything.
I was going there. Can I go there?
So, go ahead.
So there is merit. I will say this. This is a brilliant mind. We're not going to discredit him.
Yeah, for sure. One of the greatest of all time. And really quick, stop saying he only got one thing right. He managed his capital and his own capital for decades and never went broke while fighting the government and big banks in that trade. He's been right a bunch of times and has been right, but he's got a couple of them wrong, and I think this is my path.
Even if he got the one thing right, that's the one thing, right? Like if you made $1 billion, hey,
okay, I only need one hand.
Yep. I only need it once. I only need to make it there once. But there's a part of it that has merit, and that's the oversized valuation of the company when we're talking about Palantir. So the amount of money, I mean, these are large sums that he's put shorts on. So I think roughly $1 billion that he's putting in shorts. I think 170 is NVIDIA shorts, and then you have about 890 to 900, some number like that from Palantir. So that Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir, said he's batshit crazy. But the valuation, if you look at it, from Palantir is extremely high. It's extremely high, and that is concerning.
Is it how we going to war into 2028?
Well, certain things have to happen in order for that. Right? And everybody that we talk to in the tech world is like, hey, defense tech is the wave, and we're seeing it happen. It's happening in a lot of the global tensions that are happening or have happened, especially this year. This defense tech is being tested and being used.
Important.
I want to run down the list of the times when over the past 5 years. So most people, especially in Market Mondays world, didn't live through the Great Recession when Michael Burry actually got that one right. But they have been here since 2020. So in 2021, some of the glaring misses, he actually shorted Bitcoin in March of 2021. Bitcoin was at 31,000 by September of March of 21. It was at 64,000. So there was a miss there. He then said, this is before IPO, before Robinhood had IPO'd. Robinhood was turning the market into a dangerous casino and took positions against that. Obviously, we've seen what Robinhood has done since IPO, and it's had a miraculous run this year. It's been one of the best stocks performed. There was that moment in January of 2023, and I think you were kind of alluding to that, Ian, where he famously said to sell because there was going to be one of the biggest crashes of all. He was calling them the mother of crashes, where the S&P would perhaps fall 50%. In 2023,
50% crash, the probability is less than 3%. I love Michael, but
the S&P rose 21% in 2023. Nasdaq was up 27. I think the Dow Jones was up 24. So he was off, and to that he apologized. Right? He said, "I apologize." And to his credit, he apologized for it. So if you're using him as a metric, not should you be trading, like you said, you don't know what his incentive is or what he's looking at. If you're using him solely, these statistics would tell you, you know what, probably not the best thing. Can you see some of the reasons why he's saying this? Yeah, the merit inside of Palantir. NVIDIA, I don't think there's the same case. So I'm interested. I couldn't get the tea leaves on why NVIDIA, outside obviously the AI story and that constant fear of that bubble word inside of AI. But I'm with you. I'm glad you said it tonight. There is going to be a moment of correction inside the space, and some companies won't exist. But that's not the one.
That's not one. And lastly, investors and traders, we can suffer from trader's delusion. Meaning the thing that caused and produced our biggest trade, we think that's going to work for every asset class. So because his big win was the big short, I've said it before, the big long pause is the movie that you guys should be running in your own life, because you should be long all tech, Bitcoin, which is tech. And even the reason why gold went up so much is because China, UAE, and other countries in BRICS were buying gold and net positive buyers of gold. So sometimes you can be so focused on trying to recreate a win, and that's not the natural direction of an asset. Most assets are rigged to stay up, even with Palantir. Not the biggest fan of what they do personally. But if I have the backing of who funded me, the same way Apple will make that iPhone 11 not work or iPhone 12 not work as well when a new one comes out, you don't think they can manufacture a crisis to make Palantir go up to 300?
Allegedly.
You can manufacture a kerfuffle internationally to make sure something happens, to make the value. And also, too, if they're telling you Sam is next, but in that darling IPO class, Palmer's right there at Anduril. So if Anduril is valuable, that's also going to drive up the value of Palantir, because now you have comps for defense tech.
Yeah, I think that's the piece that we don't think about, right? Like if we're talking about defense tech. At some point, they got to test this thing out.
Test what out?
The defense technology that they're actually making.
They have tested it. They're not testing out. They're using it.
This is what I'm saying, right? And so he kind of alluded to it, and that's why I'm like, allegedly, like sometimes crises or conflicts are created just for a reason.
Well,
they'll use some of them drones to spy here. Go ahead, Rashad. Not here, but the States.
Please.
Yeah, the States.
Even if you don't need it, even if you don't use it, you're still gonna buy it. You're still gonna buy it if you don't use it. So like, if somebody else has a gun that is bigger than your gun, then you got to get a gun. Then you got to get a bazooka. Then you got to get a tomahawk. Yeah. But you might not ever actually use it, but it's the idea of fear through intimidation. If you know that I have something that can completely obliterate your whole entire country in 1 second, you're going to be a little bit more, cautious how you handle the business. So their technology is getting used currently as far as the surveillance, as far as face recognition, as far as drones. That's getting used in America and other countries currently. But everything that they're developing is going to have to be purchased, because nobody wants to have the weaker arsenal.
You can't afford to.
Especially with the dollar falling and crisis arising, bad leadership in the country. You can't afford to. And America searching for IPO and publicly traded darlings to help the debt situation not be worse? Like I ask everyone all the time, is America better or worse off without NVIDIA? They are the two new big to fail. I know people keep saying, well, it's like Cisco or like Enron. No, they're actually producing at a high level. They are the pillar that's keeping the American economy afloat. Meanwhile, China's open sourcing everything to try and beat us. And when people have an issue with spend, we're spending that much capital and forcing people to work together so China doesn't beat us. Even Apple and Bay, we can't get the AI thing down. Can we just pay you to fix our AI? We're seeing old partnerships come back that once died. And now Tim Cook and Google CEO are sitting down figuring that part out, and it's working pretty well.
Yeah, that search number just went up. Just when we thought that it went, but that you're right, man. This is why we kind of started that conversation last week of like who's the most important, and we're talking about national security for the next, foreseeable future. This is a company that has to be protected, and we could say too big to fail at this point.